Hey, hi everybody, welcome to Digital TechJoint. Hope everybody is doing good, and thank you for all the love and the likes that you display and show on my channel. So in this tutorial we are going to learn about one of the mechanism of logging exception, audit, or other information. Basically we are talking about a logging system called Serilog. So Serilog is a fully .NET based logging mechanism. It is basically provides diagnostic logging to files at the console and elsewhere. It is easy to set up as a clean API and is portable between recent .NET platforms. So here this is the Serilog framework. It is much more structured and advanced than ILogger that is provided in .NET by default. So before we dive into this query, let us first understand what is the key difference between ILogger and Serilog and why you should give it a try on implementing Serilog in your ASP.NET application. So guys, I just highlighted couple of things which is important for us to understand the key difference between ILogger and Serilog. So first is the purpose and the role. While ILogger is built-in interface in .NET that defines a common way to log messages, Serilog provides a full-featured structured logging framework that actually implements the logging. ILogger is just an API contract. Serilog is engine that performs the logging. Second is structured logging, limited plain text by default, whereas native structured object, using key value pairs, object and log context. Serilog treats every structured data, making it searchable and machine readable. Third is configuration and extensibility. Basic configuration via app setting, whereas highly extensible with sinks, enrichers, filters, and formatters. Serilog offers 100 plus sinks, that is file, sequence, Azure, SQL Server, and rich customization out of the box. Then finally we have integration in ASP.NET Core. Comes by default. Logs flow through the Microsoft logging pipeline, and Serilog plugs into the pipeline via builder os.use Serilog. You can keep using ILogger in your code while Serilog handles the heavy lifting underneath. The last is output and formatting. Relies on providers, console, debug, Azure with limited control, whereas this offers multiple sinks and flexible output templates and JSON formatter. So guys, this was a key difference. Now let us now go to our practical session and create a project. And what we are going to do is that we will not only just directly jump into and install those packages and show you the basic demo, but what I'm going to do is create a small CRUD application using a database, and then set up the Serilog so that we can see the entire implementation end to end like you do in a real world application. So let's get started and open Visual Studio 2022 supporting .NET Framework 9.0. So this is Visual Studio 2022. Let's go create a new project, and let us select ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. Click on next, and let's name this project as Serilog Demo. This is a path, and this is .NET 9.0. I will untick configure for HTTPS and click on create. So first thing we're going to do is that install the required packages. Okay, so while the project is loaded, the first thing I'm going to do is that go ahead and right click on the project, manage NuGet packages, and click on browse. So I'm going to type Serilog, and I'm going to select Serilog first, install. Good. Then I'm going to select Serilog console. Then I'm going to install Serilog ASP.NET Core, and there is Serilog. I need also Serilog exception. Okay, so here Serilog exceptions. Okay, I will also like to install Serilog things. Yeah, this one is already installed. I don't want the debug. And then Serilog enrichers. Okay, so Serilog. So there is Serilog enricher environment. I installed this as well. And there is something called configuration as well. Let me just check. Okay, so I installed Serilog configuration as well. Okay, so with this we have installed all this required Serilog packages. Now let us also install Microsoft Entity Framework, because we are going to use a CRUD application. So I'm going to say Entity Framework. So first is Entity Framework Core, then your SQL Server, important, then your Entity Framework Core dot relational, and then tools. This one, Entity Framework Core tools, for running all my migration commands. Okay, so with this, let us just go and click on installed. So these are the packages, you can have a look. Serilog, Serilog.net, enrichers, exceptions, settings, Serilog things, and these are Entity Framework libraries. Great. Now what we're going to do is that we will first add the connection string. We will add the connection string over here, and also add some setting related to Serilog, on which log it should capture, what level, and what it should ignore. So let's start with app setting. So in the app setting, we have the current logging, log level, default information, and Microsoft ASP.NET warning. So we will remove this line over here. We'll keep allowed host, and here we are going to paste the database connection string and the Serilog setting. Okay, so this is the first step. So now I'll just expand this work area so that you can just check the connection string. So we have a connection string over here, and name is default connection, server is Trinity Digital TechJoint, because that is my server name. I'll just open my SQL Server Studio. It's version 20.2. You can install it, download it freely and install it. So here you can see this is my server. I'll connect it. So we are going to create a database over here. So database will be Serilog demo. Trusted connection is true and trusted server certificate is true. Okay, this is database connection. And then we have Serilog, and minimum level information default is information, and it is overriding Microsoft warning and system warning logs. Okay, and then comma, and this will be allowed host. So this is one setting, we'll do it over here. Apart from that, we will actually now add a model and class and call this as product. So this will be my product model, and here we'll have a couple of properties: prop tab, and this ID, prop tab, and then this will be string, and this will be name, and then we'll have something called prop, and this will be int, and this will be rate. Just 3 fields. Okay, and then we're going to create a data folder for our application DB context, data, and we'll add a class called as application DB context. Okay, and here this will inherit db context, and we'll just click it over here and move the mouse to the left side and select generate construction option over here. This is added. We'll just remove this default constructor and we are going to say db set, and this will be our class, model class product. And name will be products, and this will be get set. Okay, this is because we are not reference the using model. So this is a table that we have created, and this table will have these properties defined over here. So next thing we are going to do is that add the dependency injection over here and create the connection string. So we are going to first take this configuration from the app setting files. For that we are going to say configuration equals to builder.configuration. Okay, and where connection equals to configuration.get connection string, and this will be my default connection that is mentioned in the app setting files. And after that I'm going to say builder.services.add db context. Here I'm going to refer my application db context file. Okay, and this is because I need to add the reference of data which is over here. Okay, let me just add it manually using Serilog demo dot data. Okay, I think so. Now it should work. Application db. Okay, this is not coming. Application db context. We should see this over here. Let me just use only this data and application. Yes, now you can see open brackets options lambda enter option dot use SQL server here and pass the connection string. Remove this extra parameter brackets. So now we have a model, we have an application db context, we have created the dependency injection over here to connect to database. Now what we need to do is that quickly go to our package manager and run the migration command. I'm just going to close this, expand it a little bit higher, zoom it, and now say add migration database setup on. Now this should start, and this should also get succeeded, and we should be able to see the migration folder in the solution explorer file. Yes, it is build is succeeded, and very soon we should be able to see the migration file. Here you can see the migration file is created. Now let us also update the database, and now we should be able to see the database over here, Serilog. Okay, so this could be because our connection string, there's some issue with the connection string. Server database. So I realized that the server name is Trinity-digital TechJoint, whereas in my connection string the hyphen is not there. That was the reason it was failing. So now I just made that small change, and now I think so my database update should work. Here you can see the database is created. Let us go to the database, let us connect, and here I think so if I refresh it, I should be able to see Serilog demo, and I should be able to see products with 3 fields right over here: ID, name, and rate. Okay, so now our database is ready, and now it's quickly let's create a controller and add the fetch data and add and edit. So I want to show how using these 3 routines we can set up our Serilog. Okay, so let's do that. And in fact what I'll do is that I will also set up the Serilog configuration over here in my program files. So this is basically these are few lines of code which will actually globally set up the Serilog for the project, and then after that we will create a product controller and view, and then plug those code over there to record those information, exceptions, and audits using Serilog. So let's set up this Serilog in Program.cs file. So let us add the required references so that we can set up this Serilog using Serilog, that is one, then using Serilog dot exception. Okay, once we do that, we come over here and then we start writing the configuration. So we say log dot logger, and this is new logger configuration. Okay, and enter dot, and then we say read from configuration, and we pass in the configuration variable defined above. Enter, then we say enrich dot from log context, then we say enrich dot with exception details, then write to console for debugging, then important write to file, and here I'm saying logs, this is a folder, slash log hyphen text. Okay, then comma, and I'm going to say rolling interval colon and rolling interval dot day, comma, retained limit 14, comma. so basically we are saying create a log folder, and inside that create log.hyphen.text, and this log.hyphen.text will be appended with the day because I have set as interval day. So every day automatically a log file will be created. Now typically when we used to do a custom programming, we used to write this, that take the date time now, and based on the time append that to the file creation, create a system file, create a folder, and all these things. That's not required. Just single line of code which is taking care of your rolling your creating your log files on day basis, also maintaining a retention period. Now after comma, this is important, again important, output template and colon. Now here the output template will have the timestamp, the level of information to store, the message, the properties, that is additional information that you want to pass, and the exception. So we will just add that template over here. This is basically standard template. So if you don't want to capture your customer records, maybe you have your name or customer ID and email that you want to capture, which you don't want to capture, then from this given template you remove that property section, so it will not record those into your log files. So I'm just going to paste the template. So here there's a template, and what I'm going to do is that this I will remove. So this is a comma, and then I say enter, and I say create logger and colon. Okay, so here the output template says first the timestamp with the format, level colon u3, message lj, properties, the one which I mentioned, because Serilog has a property called push logs, which will actually add this information, custom information over here, and then the explanation. I will just explain you these properties in details once again, but this is what you need to do, just 5-6 lines of code and your Serilog is set up. But I'll just specially explain this particular line of template. So guys, the property has the timestamp, level, U3, message, LJ, properties, new line and exception. Timestamp is the way you have formatted to display the year, time and hour and seconds. Level U3 is 3 character of the log level, that is information, warning or error. And then we have message LJ, which says print the log message with any structured data substituted in. Means little JSON like product. I see over example, product created, ID 1 and name laptop. Then properties is the one which I told, extra context properties that you want to add using push property. So suppose I have some value that I want to log it, I can use that and that will appear in the property section. And this is a breakpoint, and then we have the exception to be logged. This is what the property that I have defined over here. Okay, so now we have things ready. The only thing now we need to do is that instruct .NET that to use logging, which will do it over here. As I mentioned in the start, that we need to mention that as well. So which says builder.host.use Serilog. Okay, this is one. Second thing, since we are also going to capture the HTTP request response, so we need also to add HTTP services.add HTTP context accessor. Okay, so even this we have added it. That's it. That's the only line of code we need to add over here. You can see it. I'll zoom it. So this is one level of code. Add the necessary references, add this few lines of code, add use Serilog, and add HTTP context accessor. That's it. Now we are going to do is that we are going to set up the CRUD app. So just right click quickly on controller, say add controller, and just name it as, remove the one and add products. So this is a product controller over here, and we will add the code over here. We are going to say private read only and application DB and this is VTV. We need to add this references. Okay, let me add it manually using Serilog demo.data and using Seridemo.models, and let's add it again, application. Okay, you got it, DB. Okay, and then we will say, let's copy this so that it will save some time, and here I'm going to say HTTP context accessor, and I'm going to say underscore HTTP accessor. And similarly, I'm going to use ILogger and pass the controller class, which is your products controller. Okay, and this will be my logger. Okay, so now I'm going to create a constructor and pass this over there. So CTOR, and inside the constructor I'm going to initiate these values. And this will be my DB, then HTTP. This is my HTTP and my ILogger. This is my logger and I initiate that over here, db. Okay, then this is also done, this is also done. Okay, now let us change the index file. So this is here, the index is there, and I'm going to say async. This is quickly I'm going to do. There's a lot of videos available in my channel that has detailed CRUD operation with for API for ASP.NET and Blazor. You can refer those videos. And here I'm going to say var list, and this will be my await underscore db dot products dot to list async. That's it. And I'm going to pass this list object over here. Let me also create the view for this and add the razor code over there as well. This is index. Just remove this. I pasted the code over here. It's very simple. I'm referring the model I enumerable because this is a list object, and then I've created a button called create action button, which I'll create in the controller now. And then there's a table and there's an header, and I'm then looping in the model and ID name, and this is rate, not price. And then these are the actions, edit details, and so this is done. So what we can do is that simply go to our shared folder, go to our layout, and in the home over here, just remove the home controller and just say products, and this is index, and just name this as products. So let's run this code and see. Oh, obviously there is no data, so but we'll just check the correctness, and quickly we will create the create routine over here so that new records can be added. And while we are creating a new record, we will add the logs as well. Click on products, and we should be able to see no record. Now create is not created, we'll create that. So let's do one thing. Let's quickly go to controller and add the create method over here, so that we can add new records. So we are going to say public action create this return view. Okay, I'm just going to create the view for this create so that we can add record, and right click on that, add view, and create over here. So here we have added the model product, and then we have added a label create, and we have created a form create and post, and we have used name. This is rate, and then submit and index page. So we have created this, but we also need to go to the controller and add the post method. So let's add the post method, and let's introduce our Serilog over here. So http post and this will be public async task action result, and this is create. We are going to pass product over here, and first we'll check the validity of the model. Sort is valid. If it is valid, then return. If it is not valid, return view product. Now if things are good, okay, let us add a try catch over here and introduce our logger as well, and this will be my catch exception, and I'm just going to add the block first. So this is my block. Now inside the try, I'm going to first do is that I'm going to add the record. So db dot products dot add, and I'm going to pass the parameter, and I'm going to save it. So await, since it's async, I'm going to await db save changes. Now what happens is that as a normal process, what I'm going to do is that add some information as an audit. So like in this project I don't have username, or I'm not using identity class, but assuming we are using a username, so I'm going to just say var user, and I'm going to use this HTTP accessor and say HTTP context. Okay, and I'm going to say user hosted dot identity dot name. Okay, otherwise it is, and now this. Okay, so this is a code which, if there is a name available in the HTTP context, if logged in user, it will show that name over, otherwise it will print anonymous. Then I'm going to use the property as I mentioned, using log context. Okay, dot push property, here push property, and then I'm going to add some user ID, and this is user ID, and I passed user. Similarly, I'm going to okay, it's added. Then I'm going to say, just copy this, paste it, and you can add your custom. So this time I'm going to say audit action. This will be create, then there will be entity, this will be product, and then entity ID. So you can have entity ID, and this could be your product that is passed in the variable but ID. Okay, so once we do that, we are going to say using log context dot push property and new values, and this will be comma JSON serializer, and we serialize the property over here. I think so we need to refer some class over here, text class, system.text, I guess. Let me say system.text. This should work. No, this didn't work. So let me just see what is the problem. JSON C, yeah, JSON C serializer. Here you can see. Okay, now this is the product, and still I'm getting an error, but let's see. JSON serializer and product, and still getting issue. What could be the problem? Let me just check. System.json. Let me add. It's already added, but still. Okay, push properties, JSON serializer, serialize. Okay, I'm so sorry. JSON serializer dot serialize, and then I'm passing. Okay, so inside that I'm going to use a logger now, underscore logger dot log information. This is information, this is not error, and I'm going to log information as product created at the rate product, and here I'm going to use product. So this is going to print the entire product information in the log. So in the exception I have not mentioned anything, but yes, we can still do. So we can say logger dot log errors, and this will be exception comma error creating product, new product details. Okay, and this will be throw exception. Okay, so this block of code, let's execute this. We don't have a log folder where neither we have a log folder or file. Now this should, okay, one, let me just return. So this will be return redirect to index action. This is name of index. So now this code works in. Now let's do one thing. Let's now go ahead and run the project. Okay, so this is the code. So now we'll create a new record and we should be able to see things in action, especially creation of logs. I'm going to click on this and this will be like laptop. Okay, and price is $100. Let's click on create. Now the model is valid. Now it adds a record. It's added the record successfully. Now we are logging in the information. There is anonymous because there is no user. It's a create entity and this ID is 1. This is going to serialize this entire object. Okay, and it has saved that using logger. You will see it successfully saved it. Now the interesting part is, if you see, the log folder is created. Inside that we have a log. Okay, now what we're going to do is that simply right click on the log folder, go to open folder in Explorer. Here if you double click it, you should be able to see the log file. Let me open the log file using Notepad. Here you can see, guys, here you can see there's a timestamp as per the template. Output template product created is that ID, and this is the entire product. This is the entire product JSON that is logged just with a single line of code. And these are the additional things that I passed: action ID, action name, request ID, request path, everything, connection ID, new values. These are the new values I did. This is the product. Everything is in a detailed fashion stored. Even the request response, your new values, your JSON, and your additional parameters that I passed, all this got registered with just few lines of code. Now if you look at the exception handling, even the exception part can be taken care of. If there is any exception, it can be handled off. What we can do is that we can create an exception. Simply go to your database, go to your table. Now just right click on the design, and here you can see basically it's a max. What we can do is that varchar, and you can say just 10 characters and save this record. I'll produce an exception over here. I will actually add any name which is more than 10 characters. Obviously there could be a truncate of data and leading to error. So here see the records got added. I'm just going to say it's like, you know, laptop Acer 271. Okay, and this is the value, and this is, let's click on create. Now here you will get an error and it will land up to the exception section, and it should log this records to your database. So this is exception. We will redirect to a user-friendly page later, but now let us go ahead and see what is recorded in the log. Okay. Here you can see it's already logged in. After this, see here there's an error occurred while saving, and it will show you error while saving. There's inner exception. It will show you the complete information. You see, it's more than information required for anyone to track exactly what went wrong. It's a complete stack of information that is given over here in the Serilog. So you can also see that the amount of data that, because I did a complete print, that is exception over here, but I can also print, like if I want to print, I can simply say ex dot inner exception dot toString. I can also do that. This will not produce those lengthy files. I'm going to just delete this and save it. Okay, now let's see products and add something big like HP laptop with mouse and click on create. This should also produce error, and but this time only the inner exception will be displayed. Let's open this file. It will not open from here. Let's go here, go to logs, and I don't know why does it search open with notepad. This is the inner exception, but even this is, can be reduced, as it, like, even these values can be reduced. You can control it, but it is shorter than the one which which you saw initially. Here you can see truncated value. See, this is the value, this got saved and the remaining got truncated. So here, this is how you can find the exception over here. Let me delete this and go back to the code now. So we have successfully showed you how to log this information. Now I'll also show you the edit functionality to how to show the old and the new value. So let me also show you how to do edit operations over here, and how do you save the old as well as the new value, which will be helpful for you guys. So I'm going to add here edit, and inside the edit we're going to pass an ID, int ID, and this will be var_v. So await underscore db, and this is find, and we're going to pass this value in the view. Let us also create a view for that. This will be similar to create, but with only difference of having the hidden values of ID. So edit is created, and we'll copy the create index over here. Okay, and we will have hidden values over here. So here we are just going to add input type hidden, and we are going to pass ID. Okay, so with that we have the edit screen ready. What we're going to do is that now create a post method also. So let's go to our controller and add a post method, which will be more or less similar to our create over here. Just copy this and make the changes. So here I pasted it, and this will be edit, and this will have http post, and this will also have a ID called and this will have an ID called int ID. Okay, so this is having int ID. Now here we also have try catch. So here instead of addition we are going to say update and save the record. But before we do that, what we are going to do is that we'll fetch the records, the old record. So where old equals to await product find. Okay, and we can use something called first for default x and lambda x dot id equals to the one which we passed. So this is the old value, and after that we are going to update it. But there is an error over here. Let me just say contains definition get error. Okay, let's see. I'm saying old await products and x id equals there. This all looks good. Maybe we should add as no tracking and okay, so the issue was not because of this, but this is because of default async. So now it's working. So once we have the old record saved, then we go and update it, and then we use the same method of storing, but here we're doing one small change. The change is that we will also add something called using log context, or we are going to use Serilog dot context dot log context, and here we should use push property. Here this will be old values, comma, and this is JSON serialize or serialize old. Okay, so this is one property. Similarly, we could have used simply log context because we already done the reference over there. We'll just copy this and paste it again, and this time it will be new values. So new values already there with us, which is there here in the product property. I'm going to just pass that over here. Okay, so now we have the new and the old values. What we do is that we use the logger now. So here we use the log context over here. I already have the new values over here, so I remove this and use this, and now I'm going to log the information and say product updated, and this is old colon @old, and then comma new colon new. Okay, so here I'm going to say comma old and product, because this is already passed over here. Fine, and then I redirect. So here I will add the something that as I mentioned that we should have gracefully show the error message to user. For that, what we are going to do is that we will go to the home controller. In the home controller, here you can see the default home controller. There is something called error over here, and we have the error page already defined. If it is not defined, we'll add it. So yeah, there is an error page over here as well. But what we're going to do is that we go to the controller and add the error page. Here this is error v model, which we can use it. So I'm going to the home controller and I will right click, copy this, right click and say add error. Okay, so under error, now I'm going to mention it over here. So what I'm going to do is that add some few lines of code saying that something went wrong, go back to the products. I'll just paste this code over here. This something went wrong, we logged in, and this goes back to the error. Inside this error code, that is log file, we already mentioned this. This is the line of code. So we will now go back to our routine product, and in the edit, what we are going to do is that enhance this exception block and say where CID, and we also can use UID and new UID dot toString and substring 0 and 8, and then we are going to use log dot for context. Let me say Serilog dot log dot for context, and this is relation ID, and we pass the unique ID over there. Enter for context. Action, we say product slash edit. So these are all additional information that I am passing in. Product ID, comma, this will be my ID that I am passing in the parameters, and dot error exe exception dot error while updating the product details. That's it. This is something an enhanced. You can also write this here. I showed you simply recording that into your exception in the create method, but here I am enhancing that and adding some additional information to the code, and then I'm going to return. If there is an exception, I'm going to say return redirect to action error to my home, and this is new CID. Okay, so this is done. So you will not get that error page, but it will redirect to you to error action of the home page, home controller. And here I am redirecting. So here with this, let us now check this functionality as well. Let's create on run the project, and so there was no exception. We'll click on products, we'll click on edit, and let's edit this to only laptop, and also edit some value and click on create. So this is not create but update, the button is not changed anyway. So now this is okay. So it is still calling create because I think so in my home controller, in my view edit, it is still create. I want to change to edit. Now let's run this. So now I'm going to click on edit, remove the name and change the value to 600. Click on So now this is edit, and it is actually fetching the old record. So this is the old record, one laptop P and old values. Now this is updated. Okay, got an exception. That's good. Now let's see what is the exception. I should have not got this exception, but it got exception over here in the product section. So let's see what is the exception. Anyways, we should be now able to see the exception. Product cannot be because another instance is same key. Okay. Got it. This was an error, but now you can see it got redirected to our page, and now we go back. The product did not get updated, but yes, we now have the values and we can figure it out what was the issue. But the idea was that to show, and we were successfully able to record that into our reopen the file. So here this an exception according to database when saving changes. So you can see saving this. Okay, this was the initial error, and then we have a second error that we displayed it over here. So see the amount of information that is getting stored, and this is a beauty, like you can obviously customize this, but see the amount of information that is getting stored, so that you can get information of what exactly is happened. So now let me just remove this, save this, and also just see what exactly is the issue. So guys, maybe the issue is happening because I am fetching the record over here and then I'm updating the record. So here I think so we should say no tracking, and because in that case it should work. Now I'm going to run the project again, and let me click on products, edit, change this, change the value, click on create. This time it should update it because I've added as no tracking, and you can see it got saved successfully. And this is a property that I'm adding. This is a new value, and this is a old value, and this is a new value. Added it, and let me first clear this log files. Don't save. Okay, let me open the log file again from here, and I want to ensure that old records are not there. Let me open Visual Studio Code this time. Okay, so let me open this again. In Visual Studio Code, and save this log. Okay, and now let me 0 KB. So now let's write the file now. Cool. Now let us go in and see the log file. Should have displayed it. Anyway, let's open it again. Here you can see the old values, that is laptop pre and the rate 100, and we have the new values, that is laptop and the rate is being logged successfully along with other information. So this is how we have saved the logging, and we're able to see over here, complete logging. So now you can see the values got also edited. So guys, with this we complete the tutorial. I showed you how to use Serilog and set up the Serilog in a ASP.NET MVC application. And thank you for your time. Please do, I hope this video was informative, and you can definitely use Serilog for logging and implement logging in a great detail in your application. Thank you for your time. Please do subscribe to my channel. Please do share my channel link with your friends, family and colleagues, and help me to grow my channel so that it benefits everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.